Okay, I just want to make this video about last week's question that I gave you, the second question I gave you, just on how to complete it for anyone who is untoo sure how to do so. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start fresh. For anyone who's wondering about a particular part of the drawing, you can skip ahead. Now, I would suggest you put it on ×2 speed or ×1.5, which is nice and fast, but you can still understand what I'm saying. Now what I've done here is I've just halved the measurements so that it's nice and tidy. Now everyone should be fine with completing the elevation and plan. I'm going to keep it nice and light, probably a bit darker than you would complete it as, just for the sake of the video here, so you can clearly see it. Now what I'd also do is I'd label all the different points nice and lightly, so I'm just going to call this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You could also do that above here, 5, 4 and 3, and 1 and 2. Now there's a few different methods of completing this. You could do an end view and then rotate that, or you could do an auxiliary below here. Whatever way you decide to do it, it'll be the same thing. You'll draw it over, you'll rotate it, and then you draw it in its position. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at the line here 1 and 4 as an edge view, because I want to rotate it so the surface here, which is A, and as we're looking at it here, A is lying flat on the horizontal plane, which is anything below the XY line here in our plan. So I want to see this as an edge view. The reason I want to look at it as an edge view, because then I can use this line as the center of rotation, because it's already touching the floor, 1 and 4. As I rotate it till 5 is also in the floor, then that full face, the surface A, which is 1, 4 and 5 are touching floor, then I can put it in its finished position. Auxiliary. Now I know I can take my heights back here, knock them off here. So for instance, the height we can get here, knock that off here, and then I know each one of my points are going to be traveling back to this point here. Now I also know that I'm looking at the two surfaces on either side, so A and the unlabeled surface over here, as an edge view. So they will be represented by these two lines. The large back surface is here, and the front surface you can't see, it's directly behind this surface. So now all I need to do is rotate that. Now again, I want surface A to be touching the horizontal plane. The horizontal plane is this surface around here in this particular view. But when we're looking in this auxiliary, we're now looking in from this side, so you can imagine your spectator standing here looking in like so. So he's looking in this direction. So the horizontal plane is actually the x1, y1 line here. So the plane is actually represented as a line on this view. So what we'll have to do is identify our center of rotation, which will be this point. Center of rotation. And also we're going to have to label each one of the points here, and then we'll have to label in its rotated form. So this is 2 and 3 because 2 is in front of 3, so that's why it's 2, 3 instead of 3, 2. This is 5, that's one singular point, and then it's 1 and 4. 1 and 4. Now remember, 1 and 4 is not moving, that is the point of rotation. So 1 and 4 will always be in this location. It's 5 and 2 and 3 which are going to move over. So we know we want to rotate it till it's flat, so I can put my compass on the center of rotation, extend it out to 5, rotate it around till it's flat. Now I know that 5 is now going to be sitting here because 5 is now in its new location where the surface A is resting flat on the floor. We'll also have to draw an arc for 2 and 3. So we are here, like so. Now I know the distance here is not a true length, but I know when we're going to be looking at it and it's fallen over surface, it's still going to be this distance. So if I get that distance here, I go back from my 5 and I can mark it off like so. So it's this distance here, 2 to 3, 5, which would be the same distance. Should be marked off there like so. Yep. Then what I can do is I can join my 5 back to that point here, which is my new 2/3, and then I join 2, 3 back to 4, 1, 4, which didn't move. And now I'm going to bring it back into my plan, its new rotated form, because remember this is the original object, it's been rotated over. Now I got to bring it back, so I'll have my original and my rotated, and I'll draw in its rotated position here in elevation. Now because I'm bringing my lines back, I'm going to use my t-square. The reason I'm using my t-square is because my t-square is perpendicular to the x1, xy line. You just have to ensure, if you have your auxiliary, your lines are always coming perpendicular through it. For this sake I can use this because of the orientation that it's in. Back. I know 1 and 4 didn't move, so that will still be 1 and 4. I know now that 2 and 3 will be up here, to be directly down from here, so this was going to be 2, this is going to be 3, here and here. And then I know 5 is now going to be located still below here, but in its new rotated position, which is going to be here. So I'm just going to extend my 5 down. It's going to be here, so that's going to be 5. And now I just have to draw it. Now remember, we're looking down on the object here, so you can imagine we're actually going to be standing over here looking down at the object. So we'll see this edge view will actually be a rectangle here. Put that in heavy because we can see that there's no hidden detail there. Now it's not a true shape because it's at an angle, but it's still a surface we can see. We also know that we have our lines traveling from 2 to 5. So the surface that we can see, now this is not surface A, remember surface A is underneath, it is actually touching the horizontal plane. And we can have 5 going back to 3. And now we're also going to have 5 going back to 4. And then we're going to have a hidden detail where we're going to have 5 going back to 1. Now we can do that, we have it in its rotated position. We can draw it above an elevation. 5, remember, is going to be resting the horizontal plane when we look at here. So we know 5 is going to be there, because remember, all the surface A is resting on the horizontal plane, which is represented as the XY line when you're above an elevation. The same with 1 and 2, they're still going to be there, but now 2 and 3 will be elevated, and we can take that distance from back here. So this is still going to be 1. This is still going to be 4. But now two and 3 are going to be a good bit up. I'll extend them. I remember again the rectangle we're drawing here is not a true shape as well, because remember, it's at a certain angle that it is not a true shape. Now this also, you have to be careful here what you mark in heavy, for the reason that this is going to be behind what we're looking at. We're going to be looking in here, so we're going to be looking at the surfaces we can see looking in this way. That surface will actually be at the back. So be nice and careful about that. So put everything in nice and light first of all, and then as you work through it, you'll be able to figure out what is heavy and what is not. Now that we have all the different points, so we have 1, we have 2, we have 3, we have 4, and we have 5 here. Now we'll start putting in the outlines that are heavy. So we have 1 to 5 to 4, and 4 back to 1. That's our surface A that we're going to be looking at as an edge view now that it's rotated down. We also have our surface, which is the surface above here, which is going to be from 5 back to 4 and back to 1. And then we also have the surface here that's going to be going back here to 2. Nice and heavy as well. And 5 back to 3. And we've the top of our rectangle here, nice and heavy. And down here. And then we have our hidden detail, which is going to be a line going down here. Like so. And that is your question completed.